Not anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. Guess what? Not anymore. I have grown from the broken pieces. I have learned to love me when no one else loved me. I have learned that I will never settle for in my life or my peaceful atmosphere. I have learned. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Testimonial Tuesday. I am your host, Sheena Gadine, and as always, I thank you for tuning in. And today we have Miss Gwendolyn, Miss Pastor Gwendolyn in the building. I would like to first start off with the affirmation before we get into who Miss Gwendolyn is, the power of her book, and the power of her message. My affirmation for today, it says, I'm amazing, and there is no one better than me who I am right in this minute. I can become who I want to because I am complete. I am enriched the lives of my family and friends, just being myself, and I am capable for greatness. So I want y'all to understand that you're capable to be who you are. You are amazing. And understand that you are who you are, and nobody else can tell your story as well. So learn to be comfortable in your own skin and just love all your imperfections despite of whatever you've been through. So, Miss Gwendolyn, I thank you for coming in and coming
Thank
through the
you.
Testimonial Tuesday. How are you today?
I'm good today. Bless the
Yes.
Lord.
Amen. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. And I'm living in Maryland now, Fort Washington, Maryland now. But I moved here because of ministry. God directed me to come to Maryland. So I'm just waiting to see how God direct me where to go with my ministry.
Awesome. Now, can you tell me when did you get into your writing journey?
Um, Over 10 years ago, I just began to journal down everything that I was dealing with in my past, and I just journal it down. And then as I continue to journal everything down, God directed me to put it into a book where I can share it with other men and women that they can read the story. And God said through that book that many would be healed and delivered and set free. So
Awesome.
about 10 years ago.
Now, did you always want to be a writer and an author, or it just as you journaled and the message of the purpose became more clearer?
No, I didn't always want to be a writer, but it just as I continue to write, it just begin to become more clearer to me as the way God was directing me to go with it with my writing. hmm
That is awesome. Now this book right here, that is this your first book?
This is my first book.
Okay. So we get the first taste of the first book and the first thing. Like, see, I love this.
Amen.
So tell me a little bit about the title. How did you come up with the title of this book?
Destined to Make It. You know, as I was writing this book, I didn't have a title, and I just say, God, what would be the name of this book as you directed me to write it, where I can share my story? And all of a sudden, Destined to Make It came to mind, and I'm like, that is awesome because I know God created me to make it. He didn't create me to be a failure. He created none of us to be a failure, but He put in us destiny. And He said, you're destined to make it, and you're going to make it. After everything you have gone through, I've been through, God said, you will make it. And so that's how I came up with the title. God gave me that title, Destined to Make It.
That is an awesome title because a lot of times we fail to realize how much we have purpose and that we are destined to make it. And we get
Yes.
stuck after having so many things happen in our lives. So tell
Yes.
me a little bit about your testimony in this book and how did you feel that you was destined to make it and what did you go through?
In this book, it tells about the first 18 years of my life of what I've dealt with as a child growing up. I'm a PK kid growing up. My father was a bishop in the church, and he had a congregation over like 300 and some folk in the church. And but within my family, it was secrets within my family.
Mm.
And how I come about this is because the things that I went through within the home. Um, as I said, that my father was a bishop and he was well known in the community. Everybody knew him, not just the church community, but where we lived in the community. He was a well known man and everybody loved him. And but there just was one dark secret. with him, and he molested me for the first 18 years of my life. You know, growing up, and everybody would tell me, "Why you never smile?" But they didn't
Mm.
understand the pain and the suffering that I was dealing with each and every day in my home, each and every day. And he molested me for 18 years. Even in the church, he molested me, and I ended up having my first baby, my first child, from my father, um, which was kind of crazy. And but it sent me into depression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I became rebellious. I became depressed. I always was a loner because of all this. I didn't have friends. So through this journey, God had to show me, but I knew God was keeping me. I knew everything that He was doing to me was wrong, but God was keeping me through all this. Um, when I had the baby, I lost her 8 months after I had her
Mm.
because the blood was too
Okay.
close. She died,
Gotcha.
and I was alone with her. Even when I had
Mm-hmm.
her, I was alone. He put me out of the home in the streets. I lived in the streets with the baby,
Mm.
um, because I began to talk about it and tell people what he done to me. He threw me out the house. So I lived on the street with the baby, sleeping at a bus bench. But a young lady invited me in to stay to her home, and I stayed with her until my baby passed. And so once my baby passed, I went to stay with my oldest sister, and I just started hanging out in the street, doing drugs, doing things that I shouldn't have done. But I was I had this anger in me, and I didn't know how to, let it out. That's the only way I knew to let it out, was to go hang
Right.
out in the street and just start doing drugs and going to the clubs and bars. But this all led me to my story, and I just began to hear God say, "I want you to share your story because of because I'm going to deliver you from all this stuff." And that's what God did. So I'm an overcomer of my book. Destined to Make.
Absolutely.
I am an overcomer. God delivered me. God set me free. I was able to forgive my father, my parents, because I always felt like my mom wasn't there. But I can't. I don't want to blame nothing on my mom, because my mama was 16 years old at the time, and
Right.
she had 7 children. So she was just trying to learn life herself at that time. So I just look at my father, because he knew better, and he was a bishop in the church. So then, after he finished preaching, he go home, he molest me. So God had to do a lot of healing within me, and God did that. And I love him today. He's still alive. He's still preaching. He's still a bishop. But I love him today. God gave me that love back from my father.
Now, what do you think was your hardest part of this journey, as far as, the healing and the forgiveness process? Like, because, some people, they've been through the molestation, they've been through the depression, and they still don't seem to find their way back to the knowing that there is love after trauma, knowing that there is love after going through these things. What do you think was your hardest moments going through this, and how can you help someone else that's going through this right now?
My hardest moments was forgiving. That was my hardest moment, is forgiving this man for what he done to me for 18 years. Um, my life was in a shipwreck. Seemed like everything I tried to do, I failed at it. But so it was that unforgiveness that I had towards him, and that was the hardest thing, because I'm like, you were my father. You're supposed to be my protector. You're supposed to raise me up and taught me the right things. You're supposed to protect me from other men or people that may come and try to come against me. You're supposed to be that protector. But yet, not being that protector, you was the opposite. You did things against me. You did things against my body, and you violated me. And so forgiving was the hardest part. I would try to move on in my life, because as I got older, God directed me into ministry. So even in ministry, I still haven't forgiven him, and that was my hardest part. I had to forgive him, and I kept going in circles in my life, and God said, until you forgive him, like, you can't move forward. So my biggest things was being asking him, forgiving him for what he had done to me. And once I forgave him for what he done to me, then I was able to move forward freely, and I felt the sense of freedom in my life.
Amen. Amen.
Forgiveness was the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's definitely seems to be the hard part. And a lot of times we have to remember the forgiveness is not for them, it's actually
It's for us. That's
for
right.
us to free ourselves. And like you said, you felt free and you felt,
Yes.
you know, like a weight was lifted off your shoulders because you've been
Yes.
carrying it so long. Because so
Right.
many times, like right now, there's people that's still carrying everything that
Yes.
you or they have been through, and they
Yes.
don't understand how free they can be after they released it.
That's right.
So how could you help someone right now that's maybe sitting and thinking about what am I supposed to do? Because sometimes people end up taking their lives because they don't know what to do
And that's
next.
true. That's true. I have heard of a lot of young ladies taking their lives because of the trauma of what they've been through. They can't handle it, or they could not handle it, and they didn't really have nobody to go to or
Mhm.
to talk to vent, to let them know what was going on. And if they did go to anybody, that person wouldn't believe them. So it left them in a quiet place, in a place by themselves, that they would share their testimony, because I've been through that. So my thing of helping other young ladies and also men how to be free from that is, you first got to forgive. You got to forgive that person. That's my biggest thing, is asking for forgiveness. In order for you to be free, in order for you to move forward in your life and accomplish everything that God has set for your life, you have to begin to forgive. That's the most important key right there, is forgiveness. Um, a lot of people say they're not going to forgive. It's too hard for them. Then that's something that you have to take to God, and because I had to take it to God and ask God, you show me how to forgive. I want to forgive. A lot don't want to forgive.
Right.
And so because they don't want to forgive, they're allowing themselves to continue in that, with that circle in their lives. And like I said, unforgiveness holds you, is a hindrance to you. It holds you back. It keeps you from not going forward. So what I encourage other people to do is, the first thing you need to do is ask for forgiveness of the person that hurt you. That's the main thing you have to do, is forgive that person, because you can't go no further unless you do that.
That is so
First step.
absolutely true.
Mhm.
Um, and say, okay, say they forgive and they still hurting. What could be another step they could take amongst this journey?
They forgiven. If they forgiven and still hurting,
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel like they can begin to seek help, talk to someone, um, get with someone that may can pray with them, because they're gonna need somebody to talk to help them through the journey. They're gonna need somebody to walk beside them, because I did.
Right.
I needed somebody to walk beside me and encourage me. They're gonna need that encouraging word each and every day, to tell them that you can do this, you can make it, regardless of what you went through. You already forgiven. Now you can move forward in your life now, and you can encourage that person. You can do this. You can move forward, because sometimes we may have setbacks of what may happen. I had a lot of setbacks, but I had to remember that God was healing me, that God healed me, that God delivered me. And so if you have somebody walking next to you, or you can find somebody that you can talk to, that will encourage you along your journey, that'll help you out a whole lot. Or seek some counsel or something. Even after you forgave the person, you know you need some more help. Just seek a counselor, seek, like I said, a friend that you can talk to, or just get into prayer. Just say, God, I don't forgave, but I still need your help. I want to be set free, totally set free from this.
Amen. And see, that's where, I needed you to say for them, because some people, they do need that extra therapy
Push.
talk, or that
Yes.
extra push, and know that it's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to say
Yes.
that you're not okay and you still need some
That's
help
right.
with this. It's okay to pray about it and talk to God, and let him know, like, listen, I'm taking these steps, but I need some more help. I need some more
Right.
guidance. So
Right.
definitely, indeed, now, with this book, are you planning on making a second part to it, or this is just the final chapter of that part of the book, as far as your message of what you've been through? Because sometimes we put stuff in a book, but there's another part, there's another book inside of us too.
There's another book inside of me. I started writing the book, but I got lazy and put it down for a minute. But I got to pick that book back up, because it's in me to finish writing the book,
Right.
sharing and encouraging other men and women out there. So there is another book within me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I have a question for you.
All
Now,
right.
being that you're a pastor now, and your
Yes.
father was a pastor. Now,
Yes.
did you fight with God, as far as, like, did your spiritual mind shifted a little bit with all this going on? Was you angry at God? Did you get frustrated? Because a lot of times going through this, we ask this question, why is it happening?
Right. Right.
Why me? Why is this happening to me? And he's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be the man that's delivering the word, and he's supposed to be my protector.
Mm-hmm.
So did those questions arise? Like, did you fight becoming a pastor, with the fact is that, you had a pastor who molested you? Like, was
Mhm.
that a battle with your spiritual journey at first?
Um, I did ask God, why is he I did question God, why is he's calling me into this, because it's something that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to pastor people. I didn't want this, but um and I saw what was going on within our own church, and I didn't want that responsibility. But as I continue to go after God and I continue to stay in prayer with God, God could just showed me. He said, "You are my pastor. You're my pastor." And I ran from it for a while. I really did run from it and try to avoid it. I tried to do everything else, but everything else I tried to do didn't work out for me. And until I answered to the call of pastor, then things started going my way. So with just what a lot I saw as a child growing up, I didn't want to pastor. But then if I became a pastor, I wanted to be a good example as a leader. I want to live right. I didn't want my life to be preaching one way in a church and then I'm living a different lifestyle out of the church. I just want to be fully committed to God. And I say, God, if this is what you're calling me to, then let me be an honest pastor. Let me be a true pastor. Let me be one that loves your people and lead your people down the path that you desire for them to go. So it was hard a little bit, but then God just continued to direct me. This is what I called you to do.
All right. Because definitely I had to ask that question because so many times we do run from our purpose
Yes,
and we
we
be
do.
running a mile a
Yes,
minute and
yes,
it
we
still
do.
circle back around right
Yes,
back to where we've been
that's
running
right.
from.
That's right.
So it was necessary to ask that question if it was a battle,
Yes,
because so many times we know what we supposed to be doing, but we like,
right.
I don't know if I want to do
I
that.
know, I
I
know.
don't, I don't know about all that. So you know how that goes. We have to. We're
Right,
like, all right. I give up. I wave the white flag. All right.
right.
I'm gonna. All right.
How
I'm
they say,
not.
if you can't beat them, matter what, join them.
Join them. Right. Absolutely. So, what is your plan in the next year or two as far as with the book? Are you planning on doing any uh speeches? Like, are you planning on doing any book signings? Do you have like any events that you have to market the book and stuff like that?
Um, I'm still writing on the second book. I'm still writing. I don't know when I'll be finished writing this book. But I just take engagement because I'm invited out to speak a lot
Mm-hmm.
to different women's conferences, and I'm invited to speak and encourage the women. I share as God lead me. I share my story. Depends on what type of conference it is. I share my story in a lot of these conferences that I go to just to try to help bring healing to those that still carrying around, walking around with unforgiveness, and let them know that they don't have to be stuck in their past, that they can move forward in God, and that God has a purpose and plan for their lives. So for the next, I'm just waiting on God in my direction where He want me to go with the book. I'm still writing on the book, so I can't say when I'm going to release it yet. But it's coming. It's in the making.
Listen, I understand that. Now, with you said your book title was called The Destiny
Destined to make it.
Destined to Make It. Now,
Mhm.
what did you want people to get out of that book as far as from what was your message for your readers as far as the book The Destined to Make It? What was your message for your readers as far as what did you want them to get out of the book when you created it?
What I wanted my readers to get out of the book is to let them know that they has a destiny. They have destiny in their path, and that I don't want them to get stuck where they're at with their shame, their pain, their hurt, whatever that they may be going through in life. That all they have to do is give it over to God, ask God to help them through their walk in life. Let them know that you have a destiny. Don't allow people to keep you down. Don't allow people to put you down or keep you in a stuck place. But God has a purpose and a plan for your life, just like He had one for mine. He has a purpose. So we want you to. I want to encourage women to know that you have a purpose. Move forward in what God has called you to. Don't get stuck in unforgiveness. Come on out of it, rise up above it, and move forward in the things of God, the things that God has called us to. We are destined to make it. That's what God told me. I was destined to make it. And women and men out there, you're destined to make it too. But we got to trust in God and put our faith in God that everything that we went through, God is the one that's going to bring you through it. God is the one that's going to deliver you and set you free. So we got to put our trust in God that God will do all these things in our life because He said He will do it. And you have a plan. God has a plan for your life. So it's time to move forward and stop believing all the lies of the enemy, because the enemy comes to tell us, put lies in our ears. As long as we sit back and listen to the lies of the enemy, we'll stay in the stuck place. So in order to come out of that stuck place, we got to trust in God to lead us forward. And we got to trust in God. Say, God, you called me for a purpose. You didn't call me to just sit here and wallow in my mess, but you called me out for a purpose. And so we got to put our trust in God and let God do the rest.
Absolutely. And that was well said, because that is definitely the truth. Like, a lot of times we have to let him do the work. And a lot of times we create more fire because we're
Yes,
trying to
that's
create other
right.
things when he's
Right.
trying to calm everything down. And
That's
then,
right.
we go like, oh, I got a plan. That wasn't the plan that he meant for
That's
us
right.
to do. But
That's
we
right.
creating our own plan. And that's
That's
how
right.
things start getting all chaotic.
That's right.
So we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be back right quick with Miss Gwendolyn, Pastor Gwendolyn. Let me get that on the tongue, Pastor Gwendolyn. We will be right back. Give us about 5 seconds. Not, not anymore. My toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore. My lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness, and so should you. Welcome back, guys. That was our commercial break. So, Miss Gwendolyn, what else do you have on your resume? I know you're a pastor. I know you're an author. What else do we have on this docket? Because I know you're a woman with many hats, because most of us have about 20 jobs.
Well, the pastor, author, um, well, I'm in Maryland now, but I was over women's group. I just do a lot of ministry right now. I have an associate's degree in counseling, um, working with people, counseling for people, and that's about all right now. Just my main thing is just ministry to brokenhearted people. Mm-hmm.
Now, to people that's out there that may need a message, what could be a message you could give to someone that is brokenhearted or that is just dealing with a lot at this moment, that needs some empowerment to inspire them to be in a better state of mind?
There's hope. That's the message I would give them. There's hope. As long as you still have breath in your body, there's always hope in your life. There's always hope to move forward. There's always hope to be a better person. There's always hope that you can reach out and go after your goals and go after your dreams. There's always hope. Don't just sit back, don't and not do anything. That God has hope. There's hope in you. And we can look to Jesus because He is the hope. He is our hope. And we look to Him. And as long as we look into Him, we have hope, and we can be assured that through Him we will make it. We will get to our final destination. So anything I can say to anyone is there is hope in Jesus Christ. We just got to put our hope and trust in Him.
Shamika said, Breaking the Silence Ministry CEO.
Thank you, daughter. That's my daughter. Yes, I have a ministry titled Breaking the Silence, where we go around, from ministry, or we're called in to talk to women and encourage women to begin to break that silence when they're in a silent place. Like I was saying earlier, they get into a silent place that they're afraid to say what they're going through, or they're ashamed of what they've been through, or they're scared that somebody may come after them if they say anything about what they're dealing with the shame, the pain, and the hurt. So what we do as a ministry is we go around as we are invited in to speak to other women and men. We encouraging them to come out of that silent place and begin to talk about it. And like I said earlier, you can't be healed if your mouth is closed. So in order for healing to take place, you got to begin to open up your mouth and talk about what you're dealing with. So we're teaching other people to break free from that silent place and allow healing to take place in your life.
Absolutely. You, Alicia said Pittman says she loves that.
Amen.
So when did you started this ministry? And how long have you been doing this ministry?
This ministry that I'm doing, you talking about the Breaking the Silence ministry?
Yes,
We've been in
absolutely.
this about 4 years now. 4 years.
Is
We
this your
going.
son? Said I'm breaking the silent security.
That's my son-in-law.
Okay, your son-in-law.
Yeah, they work with me in my ministry as well. So, what was the question again?
Sorry. I was asking you, how long did you started the ministry? And yeah, what made you start it? That's what I asked you.
Because I see so many hurting women and what they're going through, and when I hear different stories, it just hurts my heart to know that other women out there are suffering.
Right.
I've been through that, and so I can identify with what they're talking about. So it hurts my heart. Wow, these women is going right there hurting. They don't have no one to go to. They don't have no one that they can talk to or share their story with, where someone will believe them and embrace them and say, look, you're not in this alone. I'm here with you. Let me embrace you. They don't have that. So when I see that, God just put it in my spirit to begin to share as I begin to share my stories. And I said, as I wrote the book, God said that my book will bring deliverance and healing to many women and men that read the book. And so when I see the hurt of other people, my heart goes out to them. And I want them to know that someone cares. Someone cares for you. You don't have to go commit suicide. You don't have to take your life. You're not in this alone. Someone's care, because I've been there. I tried suicide. I tried to kill my own self. I ended up in a mental hospital several times. So I want them to know you're not alone. You don't have to go
Right.
down this road, but someone's here care, and I care. And I care.
And that's a very powerful message, because a lot of times there are so many people, men, women, kids, that sit in silence and they don't speak about a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
because the fear of what might happen, or the fear what might come after, if they spoke up, or if someone's going to believe them. So I commend you for
Thank
everything
you.
that you are doing.
Thank you.
Now, are you doing that out in Maryland right now as well?
No, I just moved to Maryland about 7 months
Okay.
ago, so I'm new in the Maryland area. So
Okay.
that's why I say, as God direct me, then I will begin to do so.
That's
So I
awesome.
still operate through the Greensboro area. If some I'll come up, then I'll go that way.
I love it. I love the idea of what you're doing, because it's really needed.
Yes.
So many times we sit in, like you said, there's so many people that sit in silence, that
Hmm.
suffer, and they attempt suicide, and some of
Yes,
them succeed and some of them don't.
that's
And
right.
it's a hard feeling to sit and be in silence and feel that you feel defeated and feel by yourself. So you are doing a major
Thank you.
job,
Thank you.
a major job. So my
Thank you.
question for you is, while you're doing that major job, who's there pouring into you? Because you have to find self-care for yourself as well.
I have my apostles. They pour into me. We have our meetings at once every 2 months or so, and they pour back into me. So I have other ministers that pours back into me, that prays over me. I just became a part of a ministry. They pray for me. And I know they lift me up in prayer all the time. So God is have some people in my life. I have my daughter, my best friend. She pours into me. My daughter, especially, she just pours into me, especially my best friend. They call me, they pray for me, they encourage me, they push me. And my best friend and my daughter, they always push me. Mom, you got to do it. You got to go forward, mama. You
Yes.
got this calling on your life. So they pour back into me.
Amen. Amen. And that's well needed, because a lot of times we pour, but
Yes.
we don't get poured back
That's
into.
right.
And then
That's
that's when
right.
you get burnt out. That's
That's
when you
right.
feel overwhelmed. And then all the other things start coming back, because you still
Right.
haven't released because
Right.
when you are the person that is here to help, to heal, to be that listener, you have to always have an outlet as well.
That's right.
So, there's that thing called self-care that we have
That's
to
right.
remember,
That's
because
right.
if we're not taking care of us, how are we going to really be able to take care of the
Take care of
people?
others. That's
So
right.
we got to make sure first and foremost that we're taking care of us. So, I have to ask that question, like,
Yes.
you make sure you get that me time in there. It's
That's
not,
right.
it's okay to be selfish.
Right.
Okay. For you,
Right. Right. Right.
it's
That's right.
okay.
It
So,
is.
because, as a pastor, I have to tell you that it's
That's
okay to
right.
take some time for you.
That's right.
You are here to save the people, but you got to take some time out for you
For
too.
myself. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
absolutely. So I had to deliver that message to you.
Okay.
And your daughter stating to everybody that's watching and the people that's watching later, you can book her at any time to speak. She's open for it. She's here. She's game. Listen, we promoting her. She open. Book her. Now, how do they get in contact to book you to speak or to have you come and do your ministry? How do they contact you?
They can contact my daughter, or they can contact me through my they can inbox me through my messenger, or they can just give me a call on my phone, or they can give my daughter a call. Her name is Shamika McCrae. You can inbox her on messenger, Shamika McCrae, or Gwendolyn Williams on messenger as well, or they can give me a call at 240-300-3126 if anybody ever need a speaker. Yes.
Listen, the line is open. She's ready. Listen, we done cracked the door for her interviews too. Y'all can get her for podcasts. Y'all can get her for book signings. Listen, we opening this door. Yup.
Amen.
We
Thank you.
look, we
Thank
speaking
you.
it all in existence. We're gonna have her on
Yes.
TV shows and all.
Amen.
She's gonna be global, not just local. She's
Thank
gonna be
you.
global,
Amen.
international.
Can I also say this?
You
This is
sure
a
can.
copy of my book. If anybody would like to purchase a book, you can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, or I sell them at myself personally as well.
And what's the price for them?
Online, you're going to pay double the price. So I sell, if I sell it to you, it's $15, but online they're $30.
Right. Y'all hear that? So that means buy it from the author. That means a thin
Yes,
signed copy from the author.
yes,
That's what she basically telling y'all. But I love everything that you're doing, and it's a blessing. And it's amazing to be able to be standing here and telling the people what you've been through, and to see that it happened to you, but you knew how to show up after it happens.
right,
You know how to become a better version of who you are now.
right.
And I commend you for what you've been through. And
Thank you.
I commend you to be able to help people after what you've been through,
Right.
because it's definitely it wasn't an easy journey.
It wasn't.
So,
It
you
was.
know, and I know it's still some things that you walk through now.
Yes.
So, in your toolbox, because we all have to have the toolbox, because I've been through some trauma, so I know I got a toolbox. So, what
Amen.
are 5 things that you have in your toolbox to help you through this journey?
Oh, Jesus. I never
Yep.
thought about that. I never thought about that, but that's something to think about right there. That asked me that at a later date. I ain't thought about that. To help me through my journey.
So see, now you have a question that you have to think
Yes.
about.
Yes.
Because we all need a toolbox. So you get that aside to think about it, because because the same toolbox that you use for yourself, you can use to help somebody else.
You're right.
That's why I asked that question.
Yes.
And but always remember, we need that toolbox, because we still face the traumatic. Like, see, for me, being that I'm a DV survivor, I still have certain things that are triggers for me.
Yes.
So I have to remember, my safety words, the affirmations, and knowing that I'm okay.
Right.
So, I asked that question because we all have certain toolboxes that we have to keep tight and tucked.
Yes, that's true.
Because you never know what might trigger you during your ministry.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up to me. I'm going to work on that toolbox.
Listen, the best toolbox you have is the fact that you're here to help and heal.
That's right.
That's the first and foremost.
That's right.
That's definitely first
Amen.
and foremost. Your daughter said you won't want to put the book down. I promise you. Jackie said the book is awesome. Get your copy. It will definitely encourage you. And you have, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she says, get the book is
Korean
awesome. There
Derby?
we go. Yep.
Korean.
Miss Derby. And then you had somebody else that said, woohoo.
Okay. Prophetess D. That's who that is. Prophetess D. She
So,
got her name spelled Alicia.
Alicia Pittman.
Yes.
So you have your supporters in the building. They are
Amen.
supporting you.
Amen.
So, like they said, get the book. You can't put it down.
Amen. That's what a lot of people say.
And
They can't put it down. So I bless God for that. If it's
during the midst of you writing this book, what might have been the hardest thing you had to write while you was writing that book? Because a lot of times we have some part of the story that's a little easier than others.
the you say what was the easiest or the hardest?
What was the hardest part in your story to write?
Well, the hardest part in my story to write was the part that when I was being molested. That was my hardest part. It's like I was reliving it all over again.
Right.
And it made me cry. I had to go through that process again. It made me cry, but at the same time, as I was crying, God was bringing forth healing. So my hardest part is the times that I was being molested.
Absolutely. Now, do you think that this was the defining moment of helping you be that, like, you resilient now, like you've walked through it, and it's like now I really have set that down, and it's not, it's not, it was my past, but it doesn't represent me anymore.
That's right. It was my past. Amen. And my past will not dictate my future. Amen. So yeah, that's behind me now. I forgave, like I said before, I forgave my father and my mother, but I'm mainly my father. Like I said, he's still a bishop in the church, and I go visit him often, see how they doing. I'm always calling to check on him and see how he's doing and everything. So I don't hold grudges. I don't hold anything that he has done to me, because now it's between him and God now. So I've been forgave him. I love him. I love my parents. I love them with all my heart. And if I can help them out in any way I can, I'm there for them.
Amen. So can you leave the people with some positive words to help inspire them for the rest of the week?
To always look forward, to always keep pushing forward, go forward in the things that God has for you. Don't be stagnated. Don't hold back. Just everything that God has instilled in you, you move forward in that thing, because you are destined to make it. Let's go forward.
Amen. 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 I have an affirmation that is going to close out the show. And I thank everybody for tuning in. So the affirmation that I'm also going to say for the end of the show, it says, today is going to be incredible, beautiful day, because I am enough. Because I deserve every bit of success I work to achieve at, because I'm worthy of all my big dreams. I want y'all all to remember that you're worthy of your big dreams.
That's
you
right.
are enough, and know that you matter. Know the fact is what you stand for. You have to fight for your success. So don't ever let what your past was, don't ever let what you've been through define what your future is, because you have to fight for it. A new day is always a new chapter.
That's
I
right.
thank y'all as always for tuning in today for my special guest, Pastor Gwendolyn. I am so proud of her, and I am awesome excited that she chose my show to be her first interview. Listen, the lady behind the mask is really truly honored to have your interview for your book. And I always welcome you. Anybody that's out there that wants to share a testimony on Testimonial Tuesdays, we are always open. Our doors is always open. It's always awesome to hear people's stories of triumph, because so many times people are still stuck understanding who they are because of what they've been through. Amen. I thank you as always. This has been your host. You're welcome. This has been your host, Sheena Godine. I am the lady behind the mask, the author of the book called The Mask Behind the Mask, the author of the book called Unveil the Broken Pieces of the Mask, and the children's book author called The Power in Me. I thank you as always. We are here again next Tuesday, every 3 Tuesdays of the month. Check if you want to email me to get on. My email is escanine16@gmail.com. And I thank you.
Introducing to some and reintroducing to others. Speaker, entrepreneur, motivational coach, and author, Sheena Godine. If you wish to contact her, you can contact her via email at esgradine